Good afternoon. My name is David Thorpe. I work for YouTube. Sorry, I'll come over here. And I wanted to talk about, because today's session is about being well connected, I wanted to just describe what being well connected means to YouTube. So, could we, oh sorry, I was supposed to use this little buzzer. So I think being well connected is really, in terms of technology, is really well demonstrated by a video which I'd like to have played now. Can we bring the video up? So, yeah, fantastic. This is 8 minutes long.
Air Force balloonist Captain Joseph Kittinger, Jr. is laced into an elaborate pressure suit in preparation for a daring ascent into the stratosphere. Kittinger, who weighs 150 pounds, packs 155 pounds of suit and equipment. The scientific goals of Kittinger's ascent are to test a new 6-foot stabilizer parachute designed to keep an ultra-high altitude jumper from spinning and blacking out before he can open the main chute. The balloon reaches a height of 19.5 miles.
Do you read me, Felix? Activate suit and chest pack cameras. Felix, disconnect the oxygen hose.
Roger. Okay, Joe, I'm ready.
There it is. There's the world out there. Release seatbelt. All right, stand up on the exterior step. Keep your head down, and our guardian angel will take care of you.
I'm doing it now.
Release the helmet tie-down strap.
Release the tree. What I can see. Sometimes you have to get up really high. The smaller you are. I'm going home now.
See if you can get a respiratory count.
Speed 546.
You've been falling 25 seconds.
Speed 600 miles per hour. 650 miles per hour. Speed 700.
Felix, you calling me? Can anybody understand you? 1 minute. 1 minute free fall.
I have been following speed for a long time. Sounds like I had to pass out.
Showing Felix in a stable descent.
1 minute and 30 seconds, and stable as a rock.
Into free fall.
Felix, you're really stable. You've fallen 3.5 minutes. Four minutes free fall.
I'm pulling my parachute.
And we have a good shoot on Felix at 8,000 feet.
Climb. That was really tough.
Felix, we're so proud of you. You did absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. I couldn't have done any better myself.
Feel that go.
Great going, Felix. Great going, buddy.
So I think that's an example of an event that a lot of people watched, and so it's a well-connected event. And there's a lot of events obviously like that, but this was a pretty big one, and I'll talk about it a little bit more later. But just to go back slightly to YouTube itself and how well-connected that is. Every month we have 1 billion people visit YouTube, and they watch about 8 billion hours of content every month, which I think works out to about 60 minutes per person every single month, which may not sound like a lot, but a lot of people watch a lot of YouTube, and then a few people don't watch that much. But it's not just about consuming content. A lot of people also upload video to YouTube. 96 hours of content is uploaded every minute of every day on YouTube. That's a phenomenal amount of content that's also created and uploaded to YouTube as well. So you can kind of wonder who the people are that are consuming the content and uploading the content and creating that content as well. And we have a term for those people on YouTube. They're called Generation C. And the C stands for curation, creation of content, which obviously is uploading the content itself. The curation, which is sharing the content with other people, finding relevant and interesting clips to share, connecting with people, sharing those things with them as well, and forming communities around channels of content or particular subjects of content. So these people are particularly interested in finding valuable and relevant content, which they can do all of these things with. And I think that's probably something which the technology of websites like YouTube really helps to enable. The other thing which the Gen C people really like is the fact that they can access what they want when they want it, using any device that they want to use it on. So on YouTube, we've seen a huge increase in the amount of content that's consumed on TVs, on mobiles, on gaming devices, for example. So over 40% of our content is now consumed on mobile devices. That's mobiles and tablets, and that's a huge change to just a few years ago. So these Gen Z people who are predominantly younger are going to can just pick up devices wherever they are. They can access and consume and create that content wherever they are at that moment. So I want to look at live streaming in particular because that's sort of what my job is, and go back to when we really launched a big effort around live streaming on YouTube, which occurred during the London Olympics in 2012. We worked with NBC and the IOC, and we worked with partners in many different countries as well, and we got YouTube, the Olympics live streamed to 65 countries across the world, and many of these countries didn't have a broadcaster deal in place. Some of them did, and we worked in partnership with the broadcaster as well. And we got all 8 simultaneous live channels onto YouTube and available to those countries. We ended up with 231 million streams being served during the Olympics, and we had a peak concurrence of 500,000 people were watching simultaneously at one point. And I think it was a real eye-opener for YouTube in the fact that the countries, predominantly the countries which we were streaming to, didn't have broadcaster deals in place. They didn't have great technical infrastructure. But we did find that a lot of people were watching the Olympics on their mobile devices, for example. So that was a great eye-opener for us. And then, of course, so that was in the summer of 2012, and then we come to the Red Bull live stream, which was a really big event and a real sort of watershed moment for YouTube, I would say. If you remember, there was one failed attempt before, and when I think the weather wasn't good enough for the balloon to go up into the stratosphere. And we got a really large number of viewers watching during that event, and we sort of couldn't quite believe it. So it was a couple of weeks later where the conditions were good enough for the actual jump to occur, and we really focused to make sure that all the infrastructure was really working fantastically. And the result was that we served 52 million streams worldwide, and many of these were in HD. And the peak concurrence that we got, the peak number of people watching at once was 8.2 million, which is obviously quite a large audience. And that was really a global audience. It wasn't focused on any particular country. And we ended up using about 8% of the internet's edge capacity, which is the internet capacity which is based at the ISPs, the ones that are closest to the users, and we were using up 8% of the world's capacity there, or at least that's the calculation. So really that was a big thing for us, and because we use the same content distribution network for live streaming that we use for video on demand, we really are able to utilize this infrastructure to get that live streams, to get those events to the people where they're needed. So for example, I was surprised. I went to Africa a lot about 2 years ago, going to places like Kenya and Uganda, Nigeria and Ghana. And I was speaking to them about the fact that I was from YouTube. And the first thing that anyone said to me was, oh yes, I watched William and Kate, the wedding from London in my little village or my little town, and I was like, oh, you managed to live stream that on YouTube? And they were like, yes. We all huddled around like these little mobile devices watching the wedding. And first of all, well, how do you know that William and Kate are getting married in London? And secondly, it was amazing to me that the infrastructure actually reached into these small places and people were able to live stream the royal wedding there. The other really important thing, because as I've said, the Gen Z audience isn't just about consuming content, it's actually about getting it out there as well, is that on YouTube we do focus a lot on ingestion as well, and where can people get the content from their places to us. For live streaming, for example, we have lots of different points of presence around the world where we know that people can reliably send a high quality stream to us from, and we see that we see a lot of people sort of setting up streams using very simple devices to get the video signal to us. So just looking at for example, an example of unrest that's happened, of political situations that have happened, really recently in November or so, in Ukraine, in Venezuela, in Thailand. We really see a lot of people uploading and sharing content based on these political unrest in these countries. This particular example of a video was someone that sort of uploaded and said, please share this to get the news out about what's happening in my country. And I guess this is the first, the Ukrainian event was the first one where people could put webcams up, they could press a button, and they could get pictures of Independence Square in Kiev out to the world. And we've seen huge amounts of watching going on based on people just setting up sort of channels and streams and uploading videos from these areas of political unrest. In fact, even today, we're getting several 100,000 people, watching live streams, and several channels of webcams or political channels sort of live streaming to YouTube. So this is a relatively new phenomenon that anyone can just sort of switch a webcam on and get it out to the world. So here's an example of a channel which is probably one of the first of its kind. I think you spell it Gramansky, and it's a channel which are not just live streaming to YouTube, but they have other mechanisms to get the live stream out as well, and they have a website where they upload their video on demand. And this came about because many journalists could no longer be in their jobs at their broadcaster in the Ukraine, so they left and they started up their own 24/7 news channel. And now they're streaming 24/7 with many volunteers, filling the jobs of the journalists, and they're massively successful and dominate sort of what we call the watch time on YouTube for live streaming. So not only can you sort of watch this stuff, you can actually just form little groups and get this stuff onto YouTube, get it watched by a great number of people all over the world. And in fact, we see a lot of live streams from the Middle East, for example, or from Africa, where there aren't more traditional distribution mechanisms. People can just sort of set the technology up, get the live stream onto YouTube, make it available worldwide. So it really is truly a well-connected world in that way. So here's another example. It's a what they call IDM, Intelligent Dance Music Festival, which comes from Belgium. Has anyone heard of Tomorrowland here? Well, we've got a few ravers in the audience. Fantastic. So this festival's been going for 10 years. I hadn't heard of it before, like 3 years ago, but then I'm more into jazz than I am into intelligent dance music. And these guys, they have 200,000 tickets for this festival in Belgium, and they sell out in 10 minutes. And obviously, it's a huge success. They knew about where people were buying the tickets from, but I don't think they were really surprised when they decided, well, what do we do about the people that can't come to the festival? Well, let's live stream it on YouTube. So a couple of years ago, we started working with them to live stream this music festival from YouTube, and they got 8 million streams for their first festival 2 years ago. But the most surprising thing about it was none of those people were watching from where they thought they were going to watch from. They got 25-30% of their audience was based in Brazil and Mexico. Since then, they've uploaded a lot more Spanish and Portuguese content. And they even started a music festival in North America, which is in the right time zone for people in Brazil and Mexico. So they've sort of like sprung, based on the data that they got from the live streaming on YouTube, into a new music festival. Maybe we could play the Tomorrowland sort of promo video for the live stream. Thank you. So yeah, these guys last year they live streamed it and they tripled their audience from the previous year, and they've gone into Tomorrow World, which is the American version of it, and they've got sponsorship. So they really sort of use the ability to work out where their audiences are from the instant feedback that you get from things like YouTube to determine sort of the next steps every year. And they're really engaged with working with the audience to basically be successful on YouTube and also as a festival themselves. So I haven't spoken much about sports today. Apologize for that, but I'm sure you'll be hearing quite a lot about sports in the next day or so. But just to let you know, we do work quite heavily in the area of sports, and if you're a sports fan, obviously YouTube is a big place to come and find your sporting content. We work with over 270 clubs worldwide on getting the content onto YouTube, and we've done 150 live matches last year, football matches, and often those games are not, obviously the broadcast games, but they're under 21 matches, or they're pre-season matches, or they're sort of women's leagues. So we've worked heavily to get all of that kind of content onto YouTube and make it available, and get new audiences in to work with the clubs. And then on the other side, because obviously YouTube is predominantly a young crowd, as I said, Gen Z sort of crowd, we also want to be able to work with more traditional publishers to make sure that the content's available there as well, because there's obviously, you've got a big audience elsewhere as well. So you can take YouTube content, you can turn the embedding on, and you can distribute that content to other sites as well. So you've really got a really wide range of audiences in which to work with anything that you put on YouTube. So finally, I guess my wrap up here is that the world is changing. Everyone's really well connected on YouTube. Not only are people consuming content, but they're uploading it, they're sharing it. It's the 3 C's of the Gen Z, and it's really important that this kind of audience is going to get bigger and bigger over the next, from now on. So it's really important to find out who they are, use the tools that are provided to get access to them, use the technology which is going to get you closer to your audiences, and use that for success. So thank you very much.